I'm going to lecture for a smidge of a minute here. I think because the lineage that I have learned of Pilates is New York dancers flock to Joseph Pilates for rehab and for strength training. And a dancer's build is kind of the opposite of the majority of the people I've trained in my 20 years. You know, it's like a dancer's strength, the legs are so strong. Everything's really strong. But what Joseph Pilates found was this: I need to balance the front body with the back body. Let me put it this way: a dancer has a very strong back body, right? And so round back, pulling everything in. Then you'd progress to flat back. You have an awareness, you felt your abs. We're now gonna lengthen it. Can you still feel them? Eventually we go into extension. Can you still feel your abs? What is this, Combre? See, I'm learning, my teachers. But we have to have you find it first, and then you apply it in more challenging positions. But I also see it in dancers too, and it's operating in your body, is that a C curve, it is so easy to load here, okay? So I want you to start to get the image of a candy cane, or I love a fern with roots, because the bottom of a fern hasn't curled up into itself. It's not like a roly-poly bug. It is rooted, sits bones, boom. And then the thoracic slap bracelet is occurring in the upper part. So it's like this doesn't ever.
Do you think you could teach that on the wall?
The wall is a fantastic.
I was on the wall, and then I said to myself or to a kid, and this is going to stay glued to the wall. This.
Yep. And what you would feel it like is a load. Like, Alesh, will you put your finger just like right above her sacrum? Okay? And then the rest of you straighten out the legs. I'll go to Jen. Okay, so reach your arms out in front of you. Now, just for shits and giggles, wrap your thighs and press your heels down, seeing if you can find kind of your glutes engaged, not a death grip. Now, where our fingers are, you're not gonna load here. You're gonna go forward. You drop your head and fern curl as you go forward. You don't load back to go forward. Nice. Now hold. Now everybody in the room, imagine you have the bands around your ribs. Pull those back, but don't load my fingers. Good, good, good. And then stack your spine back up, up, up. We'll do it one more time just because I want you to feel this too, Sarah. Nice. And yes, gorgeous. Exhale, go forward. Yeah, so you never load my finger. Good. And then you pull into where the band was, but you don't load where our finger was. Let a little pop there. Nice. Nice, and then you stack back up on top of this gorgeously unloaded lumbar area. Good, now zip the legs together and try to roll back to the mat, creating space in that zone while also pulling in. That's what's so tough about Pilates. I'm asking you to do things that feel like opposites. Go ahead and roll back, legs together. Can you roll back while keeping that area where the finger was long and then pulling into the band? Yay, Katie. 2 and 1. All the way down and release. Okay, ladies, how are we doing? Okay, so let's look at stomach massage in a really challenging way. Actually, I'll get towels for you too. Go ahead and have a seat on the front edge of your mat. This we do a mat class sometimes, and I just love it, because then you realize, stomach massage is training for teaser. Yay.
Can I ask a question about what we just did?
Yeah.
So when you're rolling down, you're not trying to articulate these lower vertebrae.
I love that question, and this is where it gets tricky. It's never a direct answer. I'm like a politician. I'm like, you know what? Let me talk about something completely different. What you have going on in roll-up. So when we first teach very beginners, we actually have them bend their knees so they can access that. So we're actually doing what I just told you not to do. It's like, what? Yes, yeah. Like that is, roll-up is extremely difficult to do, right? It's sort of like, we need someone, it's kind of like the riding a bike. Like, we'll throw a 5-year-old on a bike, we know they're probably gonna fall off, but we need them to learn. So I hate to say it, but we're kind of putting you in a tough position to start. And what we're doing as teachers is we're cueing the heck out of this. Lift and pull in. Lift. 90% of the a lot of the population is already here. So we're just adding lift to it. So we do want you trying to pull in and articulate each bone. But what we have when the legs are straight, once you've earned that right, is opposition. So the legs, if you're wrapping and you're hugging, it's gonna keep you from loading. This prevents this. You see, this whole thing just got lost. This is an extremely big ask of the majority of spines, like to really pull. So I actually don't have the capacity to imprint on my lumbar. That's great, because I should have a natural lumbar curve, but I'm trying as hard as hell to do it, because then I get deep in my abs. Does that make sense? So try it one more time with that. So legs are straight out, because this is all training for stomach massage anyways. Wrap your thighs. I'm gonna let you do Pilates V, because that's gonna help you. That's why we teach, you know, roll up with Pilates V a lot of the time. So hug, reach, now lift like we've got a finger on your sacrum, and you don't load our fingers. You pull your ribs into the band while you push the ends of the bands to me. Pull your breastbone a little deeper, Rebecca, and lift out of your sacrum. That is a gorgeous position right there. Now, imagine I've locked your legs down and start to go back. So your goal is to not let the legs come with you. In fact, if you plug your shoulders there, you're gonna feel a little lift out of your low back, or in fact, plug to lift. You can see how all the cues eventually tie to one end result, which is unloading your spinal column. Keep hugging. Yeah. Y'all are awesome. All the way, oh man, gorgeous.
My feet do move.
They do, I mean, again, we're working towards it more. Yeah, there's some, you might know Aleshka, I learned about it at the beginning, it's like sacropelvic rhythm. I make up stuff when I don't know. But it's something about the nature of the little inchworm that occurs. So at the end of like 5 roll-ups, we all have to adjust our pants a little bit. So there is this movement, but you are trying to create as much opposition, and that's what ends in a hip extension versus an ab pull-in, which is essentially how we develop core strength. Add a plug to that, and that's your core strength. You're there. Okay, yay. Did that help a little bit? It's hard to teach a beginner that though. You're like, imprint your bones, but don't. Yeah, very good. You know?
I just have them it's just so much safer because they lose it otherwise.
Yeah. So imprint, the end result of us imprinting when we're sitting like this is not hugely terrible. Imprinting, you're not gonna hurt yourself like imprinting as you roll back. What you're only gonna develop though is strengthen your abdominals when you're in this position. So we teach it to get the point across, and then we say, now lengthen your legs straight. You're gonna end up, this is a problem when you load it, okay? But you have to remember you're a load. So you on top of yourself, you're building a mechanical pattern where your body only knows how to engage its abs when it's round. And that's why Joe Pilates adds a flat back. Okay, smarty pantses, you got your abs when you're in a C curve. Can you now lift out of it and still feel it? Cool, now you're intermediate. Can you then extend? Now you're advanced, you know? So yeah, there's the progression.
The first time that I ever felt that way was when you put it on the rope on my feet.
Yeah, the straps. See, isn't this nice? Like if I had 15 of these for a mat class, glorious. And sometimes I'll team you up. We did the bands on Monday around the feet. You know, that sort of gives you something to push into. There's lots of ways to recreate it, but it does help to have that. Okay, sit up at the front edge of your mat. Place, oh, and you guys all have squeegees? Put squeegees between your heels. Okay? Because we're then gonna do this on the reformer. We are gonna have time for all of this, I think. Right? Let me look at my little list. Oh yeah, we're almost there. This is the last one we'll kind of do on the mat. Okay, so right away, find your, and actually this one I'm gonna put here. So squeeze that. Your feet stay in a fixed Pilates V, so smidge narrow, which makes your psoas kind of kick in a little bit. Yes, go ahead on so your heels are on the towel, and then fist hug. Good, smidge wider. So squeeze the heck out of squidgy, and then without your feet going wider, wrap your thighs and see if you can feel a smidge of space in your groin. Fingers wrap lightly around the front edge of the mat and your elbows turn out. Now, I'll come around to all this. Let your head drop. Okay, so I'm gonna put my little toe here. So without loading my toe, so lift off my toe and pull your ribs into the band. Go ahead and press the towel or lengthen the towel away from you, lifting off my wiggly toe and pulling the ribs into this band. Good, so you're lifting your ribs off your hips and then draw the towel back in. Okay, and then lengthen. Good. And then in. Oh, this is great. So I'm gonna put my toe right, you got a little star on the back of your pants. So lift off my wiggly finger and then pull your ribs in here. Yeah, there you go. So you're creating your Pilates fern. Nice. And draw in. I'll put that there. Beautiful. So you're lifting off my wiggly toe. So lift off my wiggly toe. See if you can unload it. And then press out. Now I want you to keep the legs out there. Then bring the hands behind you. You're going to do like little spider fingertips. Or you can do fists. But you're going to lift up. I realize I made you turn your jewelry. Sometimes I'll teach with the knuckles down on the reformer, just so you know. Okay, so you're here, so lengthen out. Now, lift where my toe was. I'll come to you two in a minute. Now, pull your abs in and draw in. So this is flat back. Can you still feel your abs doing something? They've got to be working. And then lengthen out. It's all there, Elaine, thanks. Go ahead and lengthen out. Yeah, you take it, well, hip flexors are working, but if it's your quads and not your psoas, then you can lie down and do a bridge. Good, so I want you to soften these elbows, and I'm gonna keep you lifting there. Good, and just think of that, yeah, that connection of the abs and lifting off my wiggly toe. Good, lengthen the legs out. Now reach those arms up on a high diagonal. Lift off where my toe was and draw the legs in. So you're gonna do this on the reformer in a minute, but hold there. Can you lift your feet just off the towel? What? So now we're starting to approach bar height. You can lean back to a point. See if you can lift your feet up to bar height. This is only like 6 inches. Can you get it up 6 inches? Hold. And now can you press your legs out holding on to squidgy? What? Do you see how big of an ask this is? And then draw the legs in. Woo! Let's do one more just for good measure. Press out. Lift out of your low backs. Bar's only 6 inches. We draw in. Lower your legs. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat and release. Okay? So Joe was like, you know what? I'm going to help some people. I'm going to give you all this support. I'm going to anchor your tush. I'm going to have your feet anchored. All you have to worry about is lifting. So no, this was, and I've told Jen this, Katie's heard this. This was classically taught with the 4 springs. This, not even long ways. And you'd put your bum here.
When he start, he would start.
He's like, go, you know? And you're like, oh, this feels amazing. My low back is getting so stretched. It's also being worn down a lot. It does feel good. And anyone that's extremely lordotic, that's fantastic. And also the rest of us, okay? So I start you a little further back. You lower the bar. This is, so again, this height, this is expecting you to be able to do teaser at this height. If you took his bar out, my legs would not be there, and I've been doing this for like 20 years, right? I'm still working on it. But when you're starting, low bar, we start here, but you do. Can I keep my pelvis forward? Can I not load Elaine's toe where it was? Okay? So now we're gonna try it with flow. So come on over. You're gonna set yourself up. You've just finished elephant. Okay? I'll put it even back. Be annoying and make you do all the things. Yes, so I'm gonna put that there, but you're gonna set it up. So that way when you come to practice Thursday, it's like, oh yeah, see, I'm just making it, I'm being so evil right now. The pad will always be hanging out back here. Okay? You set it up long-wise. I'm gonna turn this around this way.